Hello, 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 my loves, and welcome to EQ with Jah. Oh my gosh. Can I just start off saying the moon is so beautiful tonight, January 27th of 2021. And then guess what? The best gift is it's my birthday tomorrow. Oh, I love this. A full, beautiful moon, full time coming into our harvest season. The snow is going to just keep getting coming down, but it's going to start to melt eventually. And then the spring is going to be here and everything is going to start coming to life. And this is when the harvest season begins because that's when we start to plant seed again. You got to prepare. Remember, it's always about preparing ahead for the harvest when you plant the seed because having the gift to plant a seed is a gift indeed. I did not mean for that to rhyme. So, what I wanted to talk about today was I have been getting a lot of different messages coming through, and the coolest one that came through recently, let me adjust this a little bit, is everyone's been talking about how do you have so much like you just faith, just this why are you just so trusting? And those were the two key words, and it was like trust and faith. Those are hand in hand. That's the duality of the right brain, left brain, logic, emotional intelligence, whatever you want to do for the yin yang. It always comes back to understanding that faith is always God. Because once you have a faith in something, it's unshakable, it's unbreakable. Can't nobody tell you nothing about nothing. That's my faith. It's gotten me through my whole life. When you weren't around, faith was there. So why would I trust you over faith? Faith's been consistent. Faith has shown up for me. Faith has loved me. This is God. This is the universe. This is the earth. This is spirit, the things, the entities, the ahas, the orbs of light, everything, the chills is all connected to spirit constantly trying to speak to us, constantly try to get through to us. And the part that I've learned through this journey of trusting the voices, not the mumbling and the rumbling and the talking of the overthinking of everything that we see in our tangible world outside of us. You have to remember that this is all data that we're absorbing. Anything that you kind of think about naturally on the outside world is literally just other people's imprints on your mind. But when you have these energy knowings that come out of nowhere, you always got to think everything that we have, someone's invented. Someone invented all of this. So that means these thoughts are coming from somewhere that's not what we call logic or practical. Because at some point you have to be like, well, that's never going to work. And then you put this invention out, and it's the most amazing invention that everyone uses around the world. You know what I mean? So you have to really pay attention to the things that we think that normally you would be told, oh, I think I'm going crazy. There's no such thing as crazy except accepting the voices outside of you. I have told people so many times, and they're like, don't you mean the other way around? No. I am with me 24/7. I'm with me all the time. I've been with me the last 36 years, last I checked. I don't know you from yesterday. So the voices that talk with me, these are the voices that I trust because this is my heart talking. This is my baby, my body. My body is emotional. My body requires touch. My body requires food. My body requires exercise. My body requires acknowledgement. This is a baby. Okay, this is the inner child. We get so confused with how we use words. Remember, the inner child is a spirit energy, but the physical body is a baby. I was once a baby who did not speak words, and now I'm speaking whole sentences to you that have cognitive reasoning and all this contextual information, blah, whatever. Because it's all it's imprinting, it's impressions, it's replicating, it's whatever. That's all this is. Someone taught me how to dress, so that now I dress this way. You can dress any way you want, honestly. This there might be codes of conduct where you live, I don't know, but you can dress however you want. We just choose to take the patterns that are the easiest. This is not the norm because it's the easiest. It's just the easiest, and that's all it should be. But things get lost in translation. And so when we start believing the translation of someone else's interpretation, we start losing trust in the inner child. And guess what happens with the inner child? Remember, the outer child is just the physical body, but remember, the inner child is that baby, that kid who grew up listening to every single adult, every single thing tell it has to be this, it has to do that. And it's like, I know more than you. I know more than what look, when I was a kid, I knew everything I wanted to be and wanted to do. And I was doing it, but I let myself get stopped because I stopped trusting my inner knowing. My inner knowing is the soul energy. We call it the soul. I call it the soul remembrance, the emotional body. That again, goosebumps. You can literally go from being highly upset, super pissed off, annoyed, and then somebody who you really trust and love walks into the room and you just break down and your heart lights up and you're just like, oh my God, I could just let all my love out on you because you can let your walls down. This is what the body feels all the time. Remember, the body is an actual protection, a physical protection for the soul. It's a physical anchor for the soul. So the soul has to remember the body is a physical vessel that needs upkeep. You can't just sit around thinking all day and thinking, or just feeling, and not creating, not producing something that gives back to society, not as a whole, but society as a collective. When you say as a whole, to me, as a whole means a whole group of what? A whole what? A whole can be anything. A collective is a collection of these wholes, which is what makes cells a cell. Again, our tissue and everything is it's a collection of cells, and then it makes a whole organ or a whole appendage or whatever. But it's this whole hand. You can only do so much with your left hand, like you can only do so much with your right hand. But them together, that's what makes it a collective energy. And so when you trust your body, like really trust your body, like, this is why gymnasts and athletes and everyone, they're so impressive, because they trust their body. They don't let their body down because they work it out, they feed it, they take care of it, and they keep it in primal shape. Remember, the body is primal. You only need 3 movements: a pull-up, a dip, and a hinge when you do squats. As long as the things that connect to your appendages are still able to be mobile, then your body is happy with you, because this is what your body needs in order to function. Now, the soul, it's on that level of, it hears all the thoughts that we, the body, process, because the brain is an organ. Just like the stomach gets an upset belly, you can get an upset mind. Okay, so just like your belly feels normal when you're okay, well, your mind can just feel normal at rest. It doesn't mean that because you're hearing different thoughts and voices that it's something to run from. If anything, it's something to go towards, because this is coming from inside of you. This is not outside of you. This is from inside of you. You're with yourself all the time. You have to trust yourself. Trust me, I've been in so many situations, jail, hospitals, this and that, for doing silly stuff, for not trusting that my body could only handle so much. I was putting myself in seriously dangerous situations, not realizing I could learn the same lesson through my soul sitting in my room watching a Disney movie. But instead, I was out in the streets acting a fool, and I had to learn a lot of the hard ways that a lot of people do. And I'm telling you, you don't have to learn that way. So when you put your body in good situations, health, environmental, and if you can't, you can still keep your mind healthy, which keeps your body healthy. That's why it's so important to read and meditate and take care of the mental health, because then when they talk about the silence, if you really just stop and listen to silence, you hear a high-pitched ringing because there's a bunch of different things around you, but the high-pitched ringing is still a frequency of sound and light that we, the brain, process and the body process, again, because we're one large nerve ending. And then we process these frequencies. That's why a radio works the way a radio works. And we can hear this in our minds. Some people I don't understand why people are so baffled by the fact that the human body is amazing. It's intelligent. It knows how to adapt to anything. So to doubt the intelligence of the body means you have ego, and the ego is the soul not remembering that the body is a vessel and not something to be abused. If you beat your car up and the wheels fall off, now you're stranded and you gotta freaking walk, and you don't know how long that's going to take. So just take care of what you have. So when you do that, then the body willingly listens to what the soul is trying to say. See, when you listen and you have empathy for someone, then they're willing to listen to you back, because empathy is saying, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I understand now. Thank you. I love you as well. And so when you come back to that, the body's like, okay, so I hear you. You've been yearning to do this, and you've been wanting to do this, and you've been wanting to start this project, and I've just been saying no. Now that you've been taking care of me, and you've been letting me get my sleep, and letting me get my water, and letting me get my food, and letting me relax, okay, I'll listen to you now. This is literally the relationship. That energy is your masculine energy, because the body is the masculine energy. The body has to get up and go to work. The body has to get up and do all the work. The soul is just driving. The soul's just hanging out, and the mind is just telling the soul everything it sees, and then the soul interprets what it sees through what the mind sees. And so if you have a cloudy mind and a distorted mind, well, the soul is going to have a distorted view of what it sees the world like. Why do you think there's a lot of great people with great souls, but their distorted version of their upbringing, what they've been taught, they can't see that whatever film is playing in their head from some past life, from their ancestors who did not resolve some trauma of abuse that they put on themselves, that's where the mind stays, and it will only see the energies that resemble it, that looks like it. This is why if you see those movies where they put the glasses on and everything changes, it's true. I was in a place just like this. Trust me, I've been told so many times, because I'm gay, because I'm black, because I'm this, I'm not supposed to be loved a certain way. I'm not supposed to love God. I'm not supposed to love spirit. I'm not. And it's like, I'm sorry, this is an energy. If I'm alive, God loves me, because that's why I'm alive. If I wasn't alive, I'd just be another energy that's existing without a consciousness of what's happening to myself. This is why we have to appreciate that we have awareness. Awareness is the being awoke. Just being woke and talking about topics that we're all talking about, that we put on each other. Again, this is, I've walked through this life, black man, my entire life, and I'm telling you this. I don't let anyone disrespect me, because I don't put myself in situations where people think I don't trust myself. Does that make sense? Like, people will go hang out with a group of people because they literally do not trust themselves. They trust the group mind more than their own mind. And then they all get in trouble. And I'm like, nah. Any situation I've ever been in and any place I've ever gone, I'm like, I'm fine with what you're doing. I'm just not going to get involved. Or if you do something that makes me need to get involved, then you understand you're being disrespectful. This is how I put my body out there. So my body is just chilling. You know what I mean? This is where you have to understand what it means to become the parent of the child that your parents were raising, and now you're that adult who's still raising this child. Remember, we keep learning all the time. When you watch a child grow up, you get to see them become a person and then get their own thoughts and feelings and emotions about things. That's the three-way journey. That's the tertiary aspect. They have to first go through their mechanical, logical, left brain side of building blocks, and then they come into their emotional, purposeful, creative side of their soul, which is their right feminine brain. And then these two marry each other, come together, break through all of the chakra energies that have been holding us back, block this, block that, opening it all up. And then the overseer has to talk with the brain, because the overseer is our faith, is our God, is our universe, is our spirit trying to come through all the time. But the ego is the brain that's learned patterns over and over and over. And the brain's like, nah, we've been there before. You're not tricking me. I'm not doing that. And it's like, it's not a trick. It was a lesson. I don't teach. The universe don't do stuff to us for us to feel tricked and then go into a ball and try to protect ourselves in a corner forever. It's not how it works. Spirit lets us go through the journey through our free will choices And however it aligns, regardless of what you're going through, I know a lot of people have a different upbringing and a tragic life. We've all had our stuff, and some people might not have it, and I'm not making light of it. But what I'm saying is that if you're still alive and you're watching this video, however you're watching it, you've made it through that journey of brokenness. You understand? Because you're now able to make choices that can possibly get you out of where you're at. If the life itself, and here's something I'm going to say that sounds controversial, but to me it's just truth. I've mourned my own death before, because there was a time, many situations where I thought this is it. And you just have to love yourself and say, I'm sorry. And after a while, you keep saying, I'm sorry. And the body's like, I'm done with this. You've said I'm sorry. And you keep putting me in danger, and you keep making me feel unsafe. Why would I trust anything you say to me? This is the energies from our past that need to be cleared. You understand? Because if you lie to your body, then the body won't trust you. And then faith can't get through the ego. And the ego is going to convince the body even more that, see, this is why we don't try. This is why we should just stay in our room, be safe, be quiet, put on Disney Plus, stay in our pajamas all day. Look, if anything, this pandemic taught me, I have enough pajamas for the rest of my life. I want to wear real clothes now. So what I'm trying to do is piece together the puzzle of, we, the body, are the thing that has to remember we won't ever give up unless the soul gives up. Remember, just like you can drive your car, as long as you take care of the car, that mileage thing is for, salespeople. But as long as you take care of your car and you put the work into it and choose to put the money into it to keep the upkeep, the car will run forever. Like, that's how cars are built. This is how the body's built. The body will run as long as it can handle and sustain itself based on the energy and the food and the people and the environment you put it in. Again, like I say, if you can get to a point in your life where you're able to escape any type of, and I'm not talking about people who are in prison or people who are, locked up or whatever, enslaved or something. I'm not making light of it, because I know people are able to get technology and see the news and see things happening. He's seeing the life happen around them that's been taken from them. So I don't take it lightly, but I'm saying this in truth. If you ever get an opportunity to get away from that, and you get out and you get free and you get to choose to go back out into the world, don't go back to where you fail. I tell people this. I'm not saying run away, but I'm saying you got to start a new foundation somewhere so the body can trust you. The body has to know that, like, okay, we've been stuck, may it be an emotional prison or a physical prison. Once we get free, it's our duty as the soul to not allow ourselves to drown in our own depressions of memories once had and things once yearned for and things we hadn't. It's a weird topic to talk about, but you have to go into it, because myself, I've been plenty of times where I thought I was crazy and I thought I was going to die, and it was just like, you have to talk about it. If you don't talk about it, then you make yourself feel crazier. That's why they say you have to release it. Every emotion is not meant to be had, no more than every thought is meant to be believed. They're just tools to help us guide ourselves through this life. And the better you get at trusting what your soul is saying to you through how it remembers. The soul remembers through masculine and feminine energies. So the soul is going to keep remembering mom and dad, first boyfriend, first girlfriend, grandpa, grandma, all of the connections of this was this and this was that and this. Those are patterns of remembrance. This is why some of us come out more alpha, more beta, more masculine, more feminine. Some of us are neutral, which is epicene, when you have both characteristics. Or you can have what I am, like people say I have very masculine energy, but I have a very feminine thought process because I live through creation and love. That's who I am. But it took me a long time to figure that out, because, I put myself, again, like I said, I put myself in situations where I'm just like, Jawan, how did you get here? How did you get here? The two that woke me up for real, and it, not to be funny, waking up locked up and waking up in a hospital bed. Those taught me literally how much I was not allowing my body to feel safe. Because if I was waking up, that means I was drunk or high or something that I just blacked out. And that's when I realized I have to really face whatever my soul is trying to face, even if it doesn't know how to communicate it. And so sometimes I watch movies and I start crying. And when I start crying, I wouldn't try to stop myself or shame myself. I would be like, oh, where is this coming from? Why does that moment make you feel this way? Like, what does it do for you? And I talk myself through it with my soul. The body just talks, and the body's like, how do you feel? And when you speak and you let your voice be heard over your chest, the heart feels it, and the heart then can trust you, because that, again, just like with a pet, they don't, the animal, they don't trust you if they feel like you're coming at them. If their heart's racing, they don't trust you yet. Once the heart calms down, they trust you. And so this is why speaking to them in a calm voice is always helpful, because they can feel the vibration of what you're trying to relay to them. So again, it's the same thing where once you speak the truth that the soul's been trying to say, no matter how dark it seems, no matter how naughty it seems, all that stuff is attached to some 3D diluted world of somebody else's old school perversions, okay? At the end of the day, whatever you think or say is not bad, but depending on if you act it out and if it harms somebody else or puts somebody else in a dangerous situation, then yeah, I would consider that something you should not do. I try not to label things good or bad, but that's a bad situation if you're hurting someone else, because that's not your place in this world. It's just not. Even if you can do it, you shouldn't do it. And this is what the point of all this means, is learning how to listen to thoughts and let the thought be the thought. And if there's an emotion attached to it, ask the emotion if it's a relevant emotion that needs to be attached to this thought, or if they need to be detached. Because there's a lot of thought and emotions that do not belong together. But instead of processing them, we lump them together, and then we have these impulsory outbreaks and yelling moments when, you start, this is just how I am, I guess, but why are you so reactionary? Why aren't you more responsive to why is this upsetting me, or what is this doing to my energy? This is, again, how you allow the soul to trust the body, because when the body's not judging the soul, remember, the soul speaks to us all the time. Anytime you get a thought that's come through, that's a pre-thought that came through from your masculine and feminine both speaking to each other differently. And then your consciousness recognizing when they have to come in and referee. So when you get those aha moments, that's your higher self. That's your referee saying, I got something for you. Check this out. That's when you're supposed to trust that faith and walk straight into it. Why not? I always tell people, I've been through so much stuff that I thought was dark, that I literally, at one point, I'm just like, well, if this is my life, then I accept it. And if I'm going to be it, I'm going to be the baddest it, okay? And everything changed. Everything changed because I felt myself physically letting down my walls. I physically wasn't tense talking to people. I physically wasn't tense talking to myself, because I was realizing I wasn't trying to be perfect. I wasn't trying to hold my breath to talk a certain way, to sound a certain way, to have a certain voice. No, I talk how I talk all the time with whoever I'm speaking to, because this is my voice. Sometimes I talk down here because I'm not trying to sound like a broadcaster. This is more of a nighttime radio voice, and this is my morning voice. But no, these are really just both sides of my energies. So I've just learned to play with them, listen to them. When I did this, my body was able to trust my soul, and my soul was able to trust my body. That's when I started to pay attention to, again, my left side and right side, which made me realize they were both connected to something that was communicating all the time. And so when I embraced my masculine energy as well as my feminine energy, that's when my body and my soul fell in love. And you understand? They become friends when you listen to each other. They fall in love with each other when you make each other feel good, because you're doing things that you both like doing together. Like taking care of your body, clipping your nails, taking a bubble bath, whatever, hanging out, just chilling, like literally just chilling and not trying to think or be or do anything extra. You're just allowing. This is the ebb and flow. And then when these two are all in love and happy, and these two are friends and cool and chilling, then your higher consciousness doesn't have to focus so much on watching you guys make sure that you get every message that needs to be received, because now you're walking with your faith in knowing that your God is true, with the universe and spirit. And then you also can trust yourself, because you know you've went through enough experiences and enough heartache and enough craziness to know you don't have to go that way anymore. You get to choose, literally choose which path you want. I always say you get to choose the path of love or the path of fear. I chose the path of fear, running away, trying to avoid. It was heavy. And then finally I was like, you know what? Not only was I doing both the walk of pain and fear, but I can just simply do fear over here, because, or pain over here, because pain is a part of love. There are always going to be growing pains, but you don't have to be fearful of it, because you know after the pain subsides and goes away, once pain goes away, there's healing. And when the healing happens, then you feel good and you go back to your normal, whoever you are. This is how spirit talks to us. And then depending on how you choose to live your life, as I tell people, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Being vegan, doing this, loving my life in a certain way, these are my choices, and my spirit will lead me to the path that goes with that path. You can choose to live and eat however you want, but as long as you're good to people and you're good to yourself and you trust the messages that come to you innately and not the ones that are fed to you and coaxed to you subliminally, but actually knowing that your subliminal conscious is no longer a subconscious. It's literally yours to reprogram at any point in time, because you know that when you process information that is not your own emotion, it's not real, it's not relevant, and you don't feel so heavy. Okay, so this was a bit of a longer one, but I told you I won't go over no 40 minutes. I ain't going over 30. You're getting 30 max, 15 max, but I hope this resonates with those it needs to resonate with. I love you, my soul tribe. I love you, my spirit tribe. I love you, ancestors, universe, this beautiful, beautiful moon. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your body. Really take care of your body however you want. There's no way to do it except the way that makes you feel comfortable without sabotaging your own journey, okay? You still have to move your body. Your body needs to work, and you still have to use your mind. So process what makes sense to you and leave the rest for later, and it'll come back to you when it's needed. And when you feel something, listen to it. It's speaking to you. It's trying to remind you of something you already learned, and you don't have to learn again. All right, my loves? Stay true, stay you. Besos.